The hospital lights flickered, casting long shadows across the sterile hallway as Nurse Clara Bennett gripped the edge of the crash cart, her heart pounding louder than the code blue alarm blaring overhead. In that moment, she wasn't just fighting to save a patient, she was fighting to save herself from the weight of a world unraveling. Have you ever faced a moment where everything you believed in was tested? Stay with Clara through her journey, where every heartbeat counts, and discover how one nurse's courage in the face of chaos could inspire us all. Clara Bennett had always believed in the healing power of care. At 32, she'd spent a decade as an ICU nurse in St. Mary's Hospital, a beacon of hope in a small town battered by economic decline. Her hands, steady and practiced, had guided countless patients back from the brink. But in the spring of 2025, the world felt heavier than ever. A new viral outbreak, dubbed X47, had swept through the region, overwhelming hospitals. Beds were full, ventilators were scarce, and the staff was stretched to breaking. Clara's days blurred into 16-hour shifts, her nights haunted by the faces of patients she couldn't save. Her husband, Tom, a paramedic, saw the strain in her eyes. "You're killing yourself, Clara," he'd say, his voice soft but firm. She'd smile, brushing it off, but inside, she felt the cracks forming. The hospital was a war zone, patients gasping for air, families pleading through video calls, and the constant beep of monitors that never seemed to bring good news. One night, a 19-year-old girl, Mia, arrived in the ICU, her lungs ravaged by X47. Clara stayed by her side, adjusting tubes, whispering encouragement, but Mia's eyes held a fear that mirrored Clara's own growing doubt. Could she keep going when hope felt like a lie? The breaking point came when Mia coded. Clara worked frantically, her team a blur of motion, but the flatline persisted. When they called time of death, Clara stumbled into the break room, tears burning her eyes. She stared at her reflection in the cracked mirror, wondering who this hollow-eyed woman was. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. But as she sank to the floor, her phone buzzed, a text from Tom, "You're stronger than you know. Come home to me." It was a lifeline, but was it enough? The weeks that followed tested Clara's resolve. The hospital received a shipment of ventilators, easing the strain, but X47 mutated, becoming harder to treat. Clara began mentoring younger nurses, like Emily, a rookie who reminded Clara of her younger self, eager but terrified. Teaching Emily gave Clara a new purpose, a way to channel her grief into hope. Together, they developed a system to prioritize care, streamlining triage and ensuring no patient was overlooked. It wasn't perfect, but it saved lives. Clara also found solace in small rituals, writing letters to patients' families, sharing stories of their loved ones' courage. One letter, to Mia's mother, was the hardest. Clara poured her heart into it, apologizing for not saving Mia but promising to carry her memory forward. The response she received was unexpected, a note of gratitude, saying Clara's care had given Mia's final moments dignity. It was a small absolution, but it shifted something in Clara. She began to see that her work, even in failure, had meaning. Tom, too, became her rock. On rare nights off, they'd sit on their porch, sharing stories of their day. Tom confessed his own fears of losing patients, of losing her. "We're in this together," he said, and Clara realized that love wasn't just comfort, it was strength. She started to believe she could keep going, not because she was unbreakable, but because she wasn't alone. By summer, the tide began to turn. X47 cases dropped as vaccines rolled out, and St. Mary's ICU grew quieter. Clara stood by Harold's bedside as he was discharged, his frail hand gripping hers. "You gave me a second chance," he said. Clara shook her head. "You gave me one, too." She realized then that her journey wasn't just about saving lives, it was about finding her own resilience, her own reason to keep fighting. Clara didn't emerge unchanged. She carried scars of grief for those she'd lost, guilt for those she couldn't save. But she also carried pride in the lives she'd touched, from Sophia's recovery to Emily's growth as a nurse. She began advocating for better hospital funding, speaking at community meetings about the need for preparedness. Her voice, once shaky, grew steady. She wasn't just a nurse anymore, she was a beacon, like St. Mary's itself. One evening, Clara stood in the hospital's garden, watching the sunset. Tom joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "You did it," he said. No, she replied, we did it. She thought of Mia, Harold, Javier, Sophia, and all the faces that had shaped her odyssey. She wasn't a hero, but she was human, and that was enough. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Clara Bennett took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past months lift, if only slightly. Her story isn't just hers, it's ours. Every day, we face our own crises, our own moments of doubt. But like Clara, we can find strength in connection, in purpose, in the small victories that light the way. So, what's your fight? And who's standing with you? Let Clara's journey remind you, you're stronger than you know, and you're never alone. Keep going.